You gotta do a little soil for the gardens. I had to completely change into work.
She's got.
Back into my nice stuff.
It's an ordeal. You gotta get there an hour or two early. It takes 2.5 traffic coming.
Oh, she sent me the thing.
And they have night games.
All right, wow, that was loud. Welcome. Today is February 25th, 2026. The time is now promptly 7 p.m. and I'm going to call this joint library board and city council meeting to an open. And if we could just do a first order of business of just going around and doing short introductions, that would be fabulous. So I think we all know Jennifer Massey, the mayor, and if we could just go to
Russ Hubbard, city councilor.
Fatima Salas, chair of the library.
Suzanne Bishop, library director.
Aaron Martin, vice chair of the library board.
Jay Echternock.
Ellen Jacobson. Kelsey Knutson.
Jana Mann.
Brandon Sundin.
Mark Anderson, city council.
all right. And so I'm going to go ahead and just turn this over to our fabulous library director.
All right. You have before you a very long slide deck, which I will do my best to not say everything on here. So thank you very much, Councillor and Mayor, for being here today. And we really appreciate your support of the library. It's really wonderful to hear those at city council meetings and one-on-one as well. So thank you very much, Lisa, for reading my mind. I wanted to call attention to just a couple of new things, and then we'll talk about kind of the broader picture. So as you may know, we just inaugurated our Columbia County Authors Special Collection. We thank Jana and Ellen for doing a lot of the work that helped give us the impetus to do this. And I don't mind if you wouldn't mind me putting you on just to talk about the festival when I'm done here, just a quick thing about the festival. So the idea here is to offer access to our community to Columbia County authors. So to be a Columbia County author means that you either live in Columbia County, you may work in Columbia County, or you're a member of one of the writers groups. There's the St. Helens Writers Guild, and there's the Scappoose Writers Group. The guild, well, the group, which is now the Columbia County Authors Alliance, helped us with a submission form, and they got us going on collecting those first submissions. We have just a few criteria besides the ones that I was just telling you about. Also, authors need to give us something that is to be published or is available to the public in some way. It will be circulated, so that means it has to have a certain binding. For example, we can't take stapled items, but we can take things that are comb bound, for example. It can be on any topic. As you'll see, if you go to the collection, we have some kiddo books, we have some YA fiction, we have nonfiction, fiction, a wide variety of topics and themes. We're really pleased. There's about 30 books in the collection right now, and they are available for to be checked out. And now starting in April, we'll have rolling rolling submissions. So all of that information will be on the website, the library website. Folks can make a submission and then we'll review it to make sure it meets all the criteria, and then we'll be able to add it to the collection. Yes.
I saw this, I don't know where, but I did have questions about it. So these people that have already been published that lived here, or they that are publishing themselves, are self-published?
Self-published or published by a traditional publisher, doesn't matter.
Okay. I was kind of surprised. It was like nice.
Yeah, it's great. We're really excited. And we've had lots of great response. We had our launch event on the 14th. The mayor was very kind to come and speak during this about the library. And we had, I think, 40 people at the event, and a lot of authors and loved ones, and just people who are interested in what's happening with the in the writing community, and a lot of readers too. One of the neat things about the festival is that we're including both authors and writers and people who are aspiring authors and also readers. I'm going to ask you to just say a couple of words.
We're staring each other down.
Oh, you go first.
Okay. Stories by the River Festival came about. We had these two events. One was the special collection, and then the other part, the Columbia County Authors Alliance is publishing, coming out in a couple weeks. I know, it's exciting. The inaugural Lower Columbia Writers Anthology called Hidden World. So we knew we were releasing that in the middle of March. They were doing a special collection, and somehow we said, hey, let's connect it all together and put together a series of events for readers and writers. which we did. So as Suzanne said, there's things for kiddos, there's things for writers, there's things for readers. And we leveraged the existing library programs, kind of repurposed them. And then created some new workshops. So,
17 events altogether. So
Yeah.
there's still lots to do. The last event, as Ellen was saying, is on March 14th. So there's some really great programs for readers. We're doing something called Pen and Perspective next week, which is in conversation with local authors. We're doing a writer's workshop next week. One of our, Jana's doing one. And then next week, we also have another one by another author. So if you are an aspiring author or
Yeah.
you just want to take in some great writing, there's lots of opportunity.
Yeah, that's a good point. We're trying to support writers, whether you normally write emails or grocery lists, there's a place for you here.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What exactly did I commit to?
Oh, America 250 anthology. I'm glad you raised that, Madam Mayor.
I was so excited when I was at that event and I'm like,
You did.
no, I committed to something and I thought I'd clear, because I think
Right.
maybe the rest of the council wants to.
It
commit
would
to
be
something.
lovely if all of the councils submitted. So this isn't library business, so I don't know. Okay.
Sorry, I just wanted to know what I committed to. I couldn't remember.
Writing and reading, it's all about that.
Another project we're doing as part of the Alliance is we're publishing an America 250 anthology. It'll be available as a free download for the public to enjoy. It's open to anybody who's a Columbia County resident. Just tell us, what does America 250 mean to you? You don't have to be a polished writer, it can be a couple sentences, can be 10 double-spaced pages, it can be historical, can be memoir, fiction, poetry, whatever, so.
Sounds like
There's your
Counselor.
contribution.
And it sounds like Counselor Sundin, this would be right up his alley.
His alley. He's actually on my list to watch, yeah.
Head down. I'm watching.
It'll be fantastic. So it's not meant to be for published writers, it's for everybody. It was an important historical record of this point in time.
Okay, sorry for derailing, but I know I was gonna catch up to you because I'm like, I know we talked about it, but
Yeah.
all right, I'm still down. I'm gonna do it.
Excellent.
All right, one of our other new wonderful initiatives is the Teen Advisory Board. Last year, we got some funding from the state library, which I'm very happy to tell you. Today, we just found out that we have our funding for this year, this summer too. So we hired a teen intern. Their big project was to figure out how to make a teen advisory board work here. And what that is a group of teens. It's very fluid. You don't have to, it's not like a club you have to belong to. You don't have to, pay dues or anything like that. They're meeting bi-weekly right now. They have worked really hard to create this program themselves. Jana is doing a wonderful job of kind of guiding them. She's helping them.
Jana.
Oh, excuse me. Thank you. Jana Weirsmuth. Jana Weirsmuth. Thank you for that clarification. Jana W. So she's been, guiding them. They're learning Robert's Rules of Order. They've made some decisions about what kind of programs they want to do themselves. Their first program is coming up. It's a board game night this Friday. They also have planned for a writing workshop, a world building program. Over my head. They've used the Glowforge already to make name tags, so they're planning to do that more. They've also designed some other items too. And then they're gonna do some projects in the library too. I have a dream that we can decorate the bookends in the kids area. And there's some other ways to organize the shelves, and they're gonna do some interesting things with the young adult collection. So it just looks more like their space. We had 13 teens at the first program or at their first meeting. It's been averaging 8 to 10. We have a really great combination of homeschool kids, kids from the public library, or excuse me, public schools, kids who are doing non-traditional learning. It's just an amazing group of people. You can see from this photo, they are really enjoying each other and learning a lot.
Suzanne, I have a question. Do you think that they would ever be interested possibly to, at some point when they're down the road, to be able to come to council too and just kind of give us a presentation on? Because we're also considering on trying to get a youth council, right? But exactly. But just to hear what they're doing there, if down the road, if they would be interested, I think that would be a great thing, a very positive thing to have on the agenda at some point.
Tell them about it. Yeah, I'm sure that would be great. It would be a great life experience for sure.
What age group? You mentioned that?
13 to 18. And most of the teens, I keep calling them kiddos, but tell them I said. Most of the teens are the 13, 14 age. And then we have some older kids, teens. Phoenix, who's the person who was our teen intern, she's the one that has really been the impetus for getting the high school kids there. And they are also helping to guide the program based on the training that they did over the summer. All right, facts and figures. So just a couple things I want to point out here. We had 49,336 total building visits in 2025. That's about a 25% increase over last year, calendar year. Of those bodies in the building, about 38,000 actually came into the library to use the library for various things. So you can see that we do have a lot of folks that are in the building. They're using it for tutoring. They're using it to meet with friends. We had a group of Girl Scout leaders in the hallway today making boxes to put the Girl Scout cookies, like display boxes. We have those. We have a person who comes in every day. She's been doing it for months that works in the hallway. And of course, we have all of the events in the Armstrong Room in the auditorium. And I don't have numbers for this, but we have seen a big increase, especially in use of the auditorium. It was 2 years ago, it was super easy to find a spot for somebody to use the space, but we are finding now that they're booked out. And nonprofit organizations and governmental agencies, CCMH did a big training. Actually, they've done 2 trainings, like day-long trainings in the last couple of months. As well as briefer meetings. So paid staff, we do all of this with 6 FTEs. Right now it's 5.5 FTEs because we do have a vacant library assistant position, part-time position that we're not going to be filling at this time. And as you can see, we have about an 10% increase in registered patrons over last year, 2,923. That's 21% of our population. Reference questions answered. Reference questions are anything that's more in-depth than here's where you find this book. So it can range anything from, I'm going to talk a little bit about more specifically later, but it can range from I need help trying to figure out how to get into my Gmail to can you help me find a particular kind of book or a theme, with more information than just here's where you find all the cats.
Suzanne, I think I'm correct, but aren't you increasing? Like 10% is a pretty good increase every year. Isn't that kind of every year?
Yes, it has been.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, that's been really consistent. And I will say that the numbers didn't drop too much over COVID. I don't remember what the specific number is, but so we have caught up and exceeded what we had prior to COVID, which is good news because as you know, it's been taking a little while for people to come back into public buildings and start to use the buildings. So we're really grateful to see people coming back. I'm going to the next one. Thank you, ma'am. So we lent out 69,000 physical items, but if you include all of the ebooks, e-audiobooks and e-magazines, we actually circulated 93,709 items. Of those, the physical items, we own about 42,000. That's on par. We keep that actually pretty consistent, and that's because of space and currency. We're always looking at the collection to make sure that it's current, especially our nonfiction. What's circulating, we might have a series that was really hot, a fiction series that was really hot for a while and it's kind of cooled off. So we need that space for something else. So we tend to we call it just about as many items as we add to the collection. The Library of Things continues to be super popular. The mobile hotspots are by far the most popular. We have folks that, they don't have access to internet unless they're using those hotspots. Some people take them on travel too. There's lots of different uses, but most of the folks that use those hotspots are using them because they really need them. The STEAM items circulate pretty well. The telescope has been moving really well lately. And the air fryer, those two have been really popular lately. And, we have 200 more other items.
I think I was really surprised about that when I took a tour that literally people are checking out an air fryer. I thought that was so interesting. Never would I think that you'd have that at the library.
Yeah, that's been, I don't know, it's probably been 10, 15 years that Library of Things have become really popular in the, around the country.
Do you take donations for those things too? How does that work?
It depends. We don't take book donations because of the
Right.
process that we do. It depends on a few things. Is it something that we need in the collection, or we know there's an interest in, and then what condition it's in too. But yes, we have taken in a few games recently, I think, and some other items like that. We have two new online resources. They're new as of the beginning of the fiscal year, but we're still seeing an increase in use. One's called Ground News. It's called a news aggregator, so you can type in a topic and it'll bring you, hundreds of articles from newspapers and magazines around the country, around the world on the topic. It shows you whether it leans left, neutral, or right. It shows you what the level of actuality is, so you can organize things by, what your topic interest is, and then what sort of focus you might be interested in. And then Artist Works is actually interactive music and other kinds of art teaching. So you actually engage, you watch some videos and you engage with an artist or a musician. We're seeing growing interest in that. We are continuing with our Spanish translation of library materials. Unfortunately, the library assistant that we lost last year was a native Spanish speaker, and Fatima is helping her with translations. But we got all of our welcome materials and all of the summer stuff translated before she left. So, and we're finding an interest in that. Our public computers are going crazy right now. They are often fully booked up. And we see a big increase in people doing job searches, people writing applications. This time of year, of course, we have people doing IRS, but all the rest of the time of year, all kinds of federal forms, court filings. Someone was telling me the other day that we always have a lot of people coming in on Monday morning that are getting ready for the week, that are copying federal government forms, filling them out and printing them. We have people coming in for homework, and then we do have folks just coming in for fun. We have a really neat program. It's called a limited community library card. So if you are living in a transitional housing space, traditionally, because you don't have a permanent address of your own, so to speak, in a traditional setting, you would not be able to borrow. But we have made a change, so you can now borrow 3 items, books and DVDs. As soon as you have a permanent address, we can switch that over to a regular library. But we have, and the really cool thing about that is not only are people using that, but we have a couple of groups from local transitional spaces that are coming in once or twice a week. They come in a van, they come together, they're using the internet, they're borrowing books, and just getting to hang out. And we're really proud of that. And we see a real interest in that in the community.
Under 7 public computers that are essential for a lot of people, and obviously we just went through all the things they did. How old are these computers that you guys have?
Interesting that you should ask. They're 5 and 6 years old, and we actually have just getting ready to hit send on a proposal. There's some federal funding coming through Oregon Humanities, I think it is, blanking right now, to support that kind of thing, access. So that's our request, is to be able to support this, to replace those.
Do any of the manufacturers partner with libraries like this to offer discounts or?
We can get a library discount, but actually the city's discount is better than ours. So, yeah, so. Yeah. Just a really brief comment on federal and state funding, because it's been kind of in the news and it's fluid, shall we say. But the Institute for Museum and Library Services, which owns, or if you will, oversees any federal funding, almost all federal funding that comes to our library and to public libraries and academic and school as well. They just, the bill that was just passed and signed by the president did include funding. It reduces IMLS funding for fiscal years 2026, which means to be spent in 2027 by $3 million out of 291. That's not a huge hit. It actually increased funding for Library and Science Technology Act, which is the money that actually specifically goes to libraries. And in fact, it goes through a program called Grants to States. So it's allocated, those funds are allocated to states based on their population size. So we don't know what that funding is going to be yet, but We do know it'll be about $2.6 million, somewhere in there. About 2/3 of State Library of Oregon funding comes from LSTA. And the reason it matters to us is because almost all of that money is library services, which are provided to libraries. So for example, a couple of years ago, we were trying to figure out how how library employees are mandatory reporters, like who specifically does that? What are our obligations? So I talked to one of the library services guys at the state library. He did some research and dug into it for us and gave me that information. And they'll do everything from, I'm looking for materials about a specific thing. We have a great youth services supporter. Jana works with her fairly often to get information to be able to support our things. And then the state of Oregon General Fund covers the final one. So their plan for FY 27 is that they will be able to continue all current services and database products, which we benefit greatly from. They will not be doing some large competitive grants, and the teen internship program was funded, as you can see. All right, Makerspace. We had 788 users in 2025. That was a big increase over the previous year. And as you know, the Makerspace was closed, but this really reflects a couple of things. One, obviously community interest, but really a couple of things to be proud of. And one of those is Jana's hard work to get the community engaged again. And also we have this growing, blooming group of volunteers. And I want to thank Dan because he's our volunteer manager. He's been really busy with that lately. We've got, I think, 43 volunteers right now. So we have volunteers in the Makerspace who are doing things that Jana doesn't either have the time to do or doesn't have the skills to do. So one of these photographs here is the fellow in the hat. Joe, as an expert in IT, he's helping a fellow there who needs help figuring out his laptop. He's in there. That's not something Jana has time for and necessarily expertise. So we have people that are helping with the quilt long arm machine. And we have somebody who's helping people use a hand tool for something. I forget what it was, and robotics. And anyway, we have volunteers, many volunteers, and a growing core of volunteers that makes it possible for us to provide more services than we could otherwise.
Suzanne, do you know how much, so the Makerspace is super popular and we expanded that space to accommodate for, do we have any idea is there an increase now with the space? Did you guys notice noticeable like attendance or participation now that we've expanded that space?
I don't know the answer to that. I will say that now having the sewing machines in a good space, having those project tables, having the long arm quilter, we've moved, the use of the space has expanded, like to the physical space has expanded. People have more room to spread out. We've had groups that are using those project tables at the same time as we have people in the other part of the Makerspace. I think that's a work in progress still. One of the things that we have a new volunteers, Taylor is helping us with, is organizing all the many things that are in the Makerspace, so they're a little bit easier for people to get their hands on. So it's a work in progress, but so I don't know about numbers, but I can tell you that it's really expanded how people are using the space. So programs, we have made a reduction in programs in the Makerspace, and that reflects two things. One, we just didn't have a lot of attendance on Friday afternoons, and the other thing is, Jana's job description is 40% Makerspace, 60% youth librarian. She was devoting a lot more of her time to the Makerspace to help get it up and running, but we had to pull that back so that she had time to do her other duties. So those are the two reasons for a reduction in the number of programs, or excuse me, the number of hours. But we still do the Maker open hours. We do the half-hour appointments. The monthly Maker Kids STEAM programs is really taking off. Particularly the 10 to 14 kiddos. And then there's kind of a meetup, Team Makers. She just puts a bunch of stuff out and they can come and do whatever they want. And then we do some special programs as well. Just a fun partnership with the Muster Gardeners. We're doing the seed exchange still. We got this great, somebody came in the other day who is at one of our transitional homes who got some seeds, planted the seeds and came in to tell us that they were growing, and he was really excited about that. So, lots of different uses for those seeds. And I have seen even in my short, I'm not at the desk very often, but I when I'm there, I often hear people asking where the seats are, especially this time of year. Isn't that cool? And then the puzzle exchange, you know, it's just we don't check stuff out. They're just there for people to trade. And we had somebody come in the other day while I was on the desk with three puzzles to, you know, share and take some away. So another, you know, just another interesting way that, two other interesting ways that the libraries use that aren't. Youth services, I just added these two numbers up. We had 2,932 touches last year, with kids. This is youth. This does not include teens. The regular youth programs, that's the 1,544. We have a really cool new program called We Wigglers that we're doing with, Northwest. I think you can help me with that. Northwest. Yeah. ESD? Yeah. Yeah, Northwest ESD. They have early literacy instructors. They came to us and said, you know, we've got some time and we've got some funds. Is there something you need? Well, what we needed was a program for littles where they can just move, because as you know, there are some kids that just can't move, can't settle. And we don't expect anybody to. So I think we had 19 kids at the first one. We're doing it once a month. We're hoping we can increase that, but that depends on their ability to meet that need, because that's not a program that we present. Jana just helps them in the background. We're coming up on Summer Library Challenge, 8 weeks, 4 homegrown programs of a week. And for the performers, I heard a rumor that we had insects coming this week or this year, so prepare yourself one way or the other for that. And then we're also going to do at least one 250th themed program for each age group. Oh, and this number does not include outreach to the schools. So that number is you could probably add 500 to that, just based on how much outreach Jan has been doing. Of course, we have our adult programs. This is a lovely picture of our book club. The person that's standing with the light, the person that's covering their face. The person that's standing there on the left with the light blue shirt, she's one of our library assistants, Terry. She was an AP English teacher and she runs the book club and it's fabulous. And then we're doing our genealogy group. That's evolving. That group's 8 years old and they're getting, you know, I think they're starting to make some decisions about how they want to run the program and how they're going to do that. So keep your eye open for that. And then we do our monthly adults and crafts. And just one little anecdote, Nicole, who runs that program, was telling me that a woman approached her after one of the programs recently and said she was recently widowed and that she was looking for some ways to connect with people. I know I get a little teary thinking about that. Anyway, so she was really happy to have that adult and craft. Okay, so here's a list of services, but I just want to tell you some things because you can read that anytime. We've been collecting in the last month, it's Library Lovers Month, so we've been collecting information from folks and we've been writing down, just collecting information about specific things that we've been doing to help people. So here's a short list. We helped edit and print an advance directive for a person whose parent was needing that. We taught a senior how to read a digital book, how to use Libby and how to be able to read. We have taught several people how to use Google. We had a patron who had recently had brain surgery, who needed help finding alternate ways of reading and finding things to do that help work with her recovery. CAT has a Healthy Families program, and we are working with them to find out how we can collaborate with them for ages 0 to 3 and their families. Brenda showed a student how to use an atlas. He's a 11th grader. He didn't quite know how to use it. He didn't know how to use an atlas yet. So that was kind of a fun one. We have a lot of caregivers that do wellness checks or do family visits using various parts of the building, but a lot lately during baby lap sit, the social worker or whoever it is will come and observe and help parents.
I know that you guys did that there.
It's not our program, but we do find, I mean, it's a great neutral space.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Or supervised visits.
That's what you meant. That's what I meant. Absolutely.
Interesting.
We had somebody whose mom has dementia and she needed help printing forms so her mother wouldn't lose her home. And part of that was just kind of doing some counseling. not counseling in the former term, but just listening. I mean, that's one of the amazing things that our staff does so well, is just listen to people.
And that's why people say that our library is the living room of this space.
So right. And then the other thing we're developing is what we call the mutual aid locker. Right now, it's got hygiene items in it, and we have a couple who's been making crocheted hats and arm warmers, hand warmers, and we have those in there too. And then we do distribute Narcan, and when we can get them, we distribute COVID tests as well. Library staff, just quickly, this is who we are, and again, one vacant position that's not currently scheduled to be filled. And that's that part-time library assistant position. Volunteers, as I said, we have 43 volunteers. That's a 35% increase, calendar year over year, 24 to 25. They logged last year 1,474 hours. That's about $47,565 worth of stuff we wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. And I'll just add, very briefly, we've got folks shelving. We're making buttons this year for Summer Library Challenge. We have a really wonderful volunteer that plowed through. How many thousands of buttons did he make, Dan? Yeah, a lot, literally hundreds of buttons. So he made those. We have people checking book orders. We have people who are preparing items to go out on the shelves. So many other tasks that we just couldn't afford to do otherwise. Retirees, people who are working part-time, that are looking for something else to do, community service, lots of things bring people to public libraries to house them. Here's our wonderful library board. You're seeing them in front of you. They're working on updating the strategic plan and doing some fundraising for the library. Our Friends of the St. Helens Public Library is undergoing something of a metamorphosis. We have some older folks that were, been in the making of the Friends for many decades. We were ready to move on, and so we have some younger folks coming in. They're doing some modernizing. For example, we have a credit card machine now that they can use for selling books and the other items that they sell in the hallway there. And they've seen, they're I think up 25% in items that they've been able to sell because they've been able to use it. People can use the credit card machine. Their membership is growing. Put a note on your calendar. First weekend in May is their next book sale. They've been really curating that collection too. It's going to be a really nice book sale. There's going to be some amazing things. And the funding that the money they raised, they bought us a new Glowforge for the makerspace. They fund almost all of our Summer Library Challenge programs. Just a quick note about our community partners. You see, we partner with many organizations. A couple of things to highlight. We work with the Elks every year to do what's called Warm Up in the Library. They come to the library, they give away hats, coats, and mittens or gloves to kiddos, Head Start kiddos. And then they use the library. We do a program for them at the same time. I encourage folks to get their library cards, show them about all the cool free stuff they can do if they aren't able or not interested in getting a card. Art Happens is one of our arts groups. They helped us with our escape room, and they helped us with the Who Done It that the festival presented. Great. Yeah, they're really enthusiastic. The Garden Club just adopted the library as their new space to take care of. I had somebody from the gardening club come in yesterday saying, "Where are those? We need to prune. Where are the things we need to prune?" So we got busy. And then just a note, Jan is doing a great job of developing relationships within the school district. Pre-K visits, regular pre-K visits. McBride does a couple of literacy nights a year, and so she's there for that. Lewis and Clark, she's doing some pre-K, the tab at the high school. She says that Danny Henningsen, if you know her, the early childhood supervisor at the school district, has been super helpful. We're co-presenting summer programs with the rec department. Shauna and I are getting ready to meet next week and talk about some other collaborations. The GROW Greater Organization and the Small Business Resource Center. We've been on the navigation team since the start. We see, folks coming into the makerspace using it. We have the Small Business Resources Corner, and we see folks using that for meetings and for using those books for resources. And then we have been collaborating with Columbia County Public Health and the Columbia County Emergency Management on everything from cooling shelter support to the Narcan and COVID tests. And then CCMH to, we've also been working with on various stuff. Looking ahead, so these little bookmarks are, those are some of the, comments that we've collected this year. And I do want to add one, Michelle was telling me yesterday that a grandma came in and apologized for causing us to have to, shelve so many books because she's getting 30 at a time. And she said it's because every night she Zooms with her grandkids and reads them a story.
Love that so much.
Yeah, I know, it's really heartwarming. So, we are, as I mentioned earlier, participating in the 250th anniversary. One thing that we are doing, in April is called Beyond 250, the Conversation Project. So we'll have a mediator come from Oregon Humanities. They're gonna lead a community discussion about a particular topic. I don't recall, I apologize, I don't remember which topic we chose. There was about 20 choices. They're all about civics and citizenship. They do an amazing job. I did a sort of example, one when I was at my last, Oregon Library Association, conference. Really skilled mediator, really good at, encouraging people who are maybe a little more reticent of speaking and sort of helping monitor and manage and keep people moving. And so that'll be up to 20 people and there'll be more news about that pretty soon coming up. That is all of the many things I have to share.
That's an amazing report. Yeah.
Before,
An amazing.
as I was reminded in the last week, thank you everybody for what you do. It's not that I don't, I just never think about saying it. Cause I just go back to when, before I first got on council and the budget committee was coming around and I'm just not a library guy. It's not that I don't read, it's just I haven't. And Suzanne was nice enough to inform me of all the things I do as well, Aaron. Of all the things that you guys do and just a little snapshot of what it is. It's nice to see because I don't say it enough, but thank you.
Okay, I will pass that along. I want to say one more thing, and I probably say this too much, or maybe I don't. I have worked in many places in my career, and almost all have been in public service. And I have never worked in an organization where to a person, every single one of us is devoted to public service, and we're there because we really care. We're not just there to get a paycheck, not a single one of us. And I think that shows. I think it shows.
I was just gonna add that, yeah.
Participates and engages with us and trusts us, really.
Well, I appreciate that you're always looking at, like, is things getting stale? Do we need to move? Do we need to invigorate something? Like, it seems like you guys are always going through like morphing into something that's current. And I think that is a testament of that. You're not just sitting here standing idle, right? You're listening to what the committee wants and the citizens, the patrons.
Yep, good. Thank you. I'm glad you see that.
Yeah, what is the glow for? Sounds exciting.
Oh, it's a laser cutter.
Okay,
So this lovely item right here was made with a glow forge.
okay, we talked about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can also do the new one that the friends gave us. You can cut plastic and acrylic and food, although we were not putting food in our glow forge, but you can actually, somebody found a pattern for laser cutting macaron, the top of macarons, like putting their logo on the top of them. Right.
Wow.
We will not be doing, so don't bring your cookies in.
Sound really good though.
It's amazing.
Good. Wow, that is incredible.
All right, well, I really appreciate y'all listening.
Yeah, is there anything that the rest of the board, like, that you guys want to add as well? Like things that council should know that?
I had a question.
Yes.
You summed it up well. The library is the living room of the city. It's probably the single biggest touch point. People don't come into city council chambers or the water department. There's a big ballot measure coming up. And I just saw the email about what's allowed by the state for lack of a better word, political influence by an organization. Is there anything that the library can do, publish, hand out within the guidelines of what's allowed with the state as the single most prominent touch point of citizens coming into the building?
I love that question. Yeah, that's a really good question. So first of all, it's gonna be up to us as the elected leaders to try to run this home, right? And to get it to pass if it's gonna pass. And that's us being outspoken and delivering those messages that why this is such a vital element of our community. In regards to the information, I mean, Suzanne does such a phenomenal job of giving us so much information and statistics, right? I mean, I don't know what else, me personally, that we could ask for. Besides, she's already given us what would look like if it doesn't pass, the reduction of services and how that's going to affect. I think it's a word of the mouth, like you guys in your official capacity can't, advocate for it. Whatever you do in your citizen, I believe you can do with your friends and when you're in your own space. But I really do think it comes down to people sitting on this end of the table as your elected officials to try to do everything possible and let people know how important the library is.
Well, I was speaking to the general city budget needs. Again, people are walking into the library more than they are any other city facility. Midterm elections are typically, I don't know, 30–40% of November elections. I use midterm. It's so in a city of our size, you can sway 500 to 1,000 voters, the ballot's gonna pass. Is there anything the library is allowed to print? A bookmark, anything? I mean, you saw the amount of materials going out, 60,000 pieces in the next 60 days. That means 5,000 to 7,000 pieces are gonna go out. Is there anything allowable under the state guidelines that we could hand out that either advocates or educates the population?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, first of all, I think we need to check with our general counsel to find out what those parameters are. And then John, can you find that out? And then also we're working on a newsletter also that could be sent out just about information. Maybe that's something that can be utilized as well.
Printed out and available.
Yeah, I think. I don't know. We need to ask so that it doesn't get anybody in trouble, but John, can you help us with that?
Thank you, Mary. I will be sure to follow all the rules.
Yeah.
Well, I just saw the email that came out and I was trying to read it before I came here. And there's strict guidelines, but I thought of all the city services and organizations, the library has a touch point unequaled in the community.
There's also other options, from my understanding, which is as elected officials that we can also use our own PACs to send out information. So that is something that I'm personally considering as well, which means that I believe, and John, correct me if I'm wrong, you're not giving me legal advice, I get my own, but I believe that I can send out a mailer if I chose to through my PAC to all the citizens.
Well, you have access and can craft the message. Rather than all 10 of us try to craft our own to our own influence group. I mean, I go to a church of 1,000 people and would have no issue passing out information. And there's variety of touch groups. I'm a high school umpire. I know the sports community like you do.
I think it comes down to I don't think that you can create any type of publication to advocate for, but I believe that's something, I'm looking at John over here, I believe that that's something as elected officials we can.
Yeah, we're staff is currently assembling some general fact sheet that's
That would
very
be
neutral.
great.
It's not we're against anything. It just shows
Right.
what general
Just the facts.
what it is, how
Right.
relative to the.
I just had something, Bob, not to interrupt you, but I'm just thinking like a bookmark that says vote yes, that type of thing. Can that go in the library?
No, because that's advocating, but
Okay,
it,
that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, I figured that was out of bounds, but
Yeah.
there's up to a certain line, there probably is something we could do.
yeah, I think that it's gonna come to just fact, like when I talked about having a town hall, it's one of the things that I really feel like we need to have that is open to citizens and they can ask questions and can have factual conversations. Staff can't come and like advocate on for or against or something like that, but they can provide factual information for direct questions. And I think that that's kind of what we're heading down that path, right? What kind of information can we send out that is not for or against, but
Well, I would encourage the city council to consider in that information, not just a fact sheet about the ballot measure and the need for money, but how the plans that the city have to generate revenue. So this is not an ongoing issue with the waterfront coming online, a new mill, sports fields. There's a lot of positive stories that we could tell. So people just don't think they're writing a blank check. Nobody likes to do that. I don't want to shell out 350, 400 more dollars a year than any one of you do. But if I knew this was stopgap in nature, that's a great selling point.
And also make it, Suzanne shared so many personal stories about how the library's touched individuals. And that's something when people realize it's just like somebody like, just like you and me or your neighbor. So not just whole cardboard facts, but actual stories.
humanize it.
Right.
Humanize the need of why we
Yeah.
need our library, why
Yeah.
we need our library.
Not
living.
just numbers that we need for this number, but we need it because of these people.
And I agree, Jay, we talked about that earlier today, like putting this on the ballot, it's like, that's not, it cannot end there. Like, my opinion is the council has to be hyper focused on generating revenue. That is what we have to do. And so we can't just expect a business to just plop down in here and create revenue. We have to have the foresight and be brave enough to go after these things that can generate legacy, reoccurring revenue.
Yes.
That's what we have to do. So I agree with that. But again, it's gonna come to everybody in their own citizen, personal capacities on sharing the word, and then like, this is why we're elected, is to get out there and this, speak on behalf of the city. So I mean, I give my word that I'm going to be advocating as hard as possible to ensure that we can hopefully get this passed so that we can maintain the services. I think they're extremely vital for our community.
Do we have historical statistics on May elections?
I like statistics. I could go down a massive rabbit hole on it. I have not really done any.
Okay,
uh,
I didn't know if.
Because I feel like there's,
1,500 in a city of 15,000 people, not everyone's a voter. A November election, if a president or a
right,
governor's on the ballot, you probably get maybe 50, 60% participation. I would venture in May, you might get 25% participation.
yeah, it's probably high, I would think, maybe. But this is also, I mean, this is a pretty big decision here too, that, I mean, it's going out to the voters and it's been in the news and it's being talked about, so. But there's also a lot of people don't listen to the news and are not on social media, so that's why I was really thinking that we need to I'm of the mindset of getting a mailer for me personally, because instead of relying on people when they work so many hours to try to, turn on to social media or turn on the news, like trying to get this in their homes when they get home from work, and it's like, if there's something there for them to look at, I think that that's important, so. Gonna try. Anybody have anything else? Guess you do a tremendous job.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here. It was a big day today with all of the other meeting as well. That's asking a lot of you. We're happy you're here.
All right. Anybody have anything else? Counselor Hubbard, do you have anything else?
I'm good. I just really appreciate the library as always have.
Agreed. And it's just so positive. Counselor Sunny, do you have anything?
Just thank you. I am a library guy, so I work very hard. Kids take part in the summer reading challenge and just a great place to be. So you mentioned staff there are great listeners and I've seen that firsthand. There's times where I want to plug my ears and I don't want to listen anymore. You guys are smiling and happy and people call wanting to know what's the phone number to Walgreens so I can get my prescriptions and just things you wouldn't imagine a library doing. You guys do, the smile on your face. And you guys are the ones kind of behind the scenes that not everybody knows about or all this goes into it, so thanks for the work that you do.
It's because I said I'm not. I don't support the library.
Wow.
But Counselor Sundin, the big question is, did you commit to the 250th? That's the
Oh,
big
yeah.
question here.
Yeah.
Come up with a few cents.
There we go.
I-
See, look at that.
Two down.
Now for the history lesson.
I know. I love the history lessons. Every council, I'm like, please just give us a history lesson. It's fantastic.
Library's a great place to find history.
Yep, it is, yeah. Oh, I didn't even mention our local history collection. So, if you don't mind, if you.
Yes, please.
So that's one of the other things that we did, I don't know, a couple of years ago, when we were able to start using the the new makerspace. We knew that we had this collection of local history materials about Columbia County, written by Columbia County, not authors, well, you know, they're all historical materials. And we have old maps, and we have schematics for old buildings, and we have newspapers and magazines. And, but they were sort of squirreled away here and there and everywhere. So we designated that little front office as the local history reading room. And that's where that's actually our first special collection that we established. That's where all those materials are now. We were able to, get some donated shelves from a library that was, I think we went down to Coos Bay for those, from a library that was renovating. One of the projects, so all of those materials are in that space. They still need to be cataloged so that some of them we'll catalog all of them so that people know what's in there. Some of those items will be able to circulate. Some of them people will be using in the reading room there. And then one of the outcomes of that is grant that we have from Oregon Historical Society to digitize all of the newspapers that haven't been yet digitized of the Chronicle, since, you know, it's since gone out of business. So all of those items will be available online. It's about a 2-year project, but anyway, so
That's amazing.
that's the other piece I forgot to mention.
Just look card catalog.
No, sadly,
Dewey Decimal System.
we still use the Dewey Decimal System. You just have to use it online,
Did
which
you
is a tragedy in
Look
my.
that up on your phone.
What? I'm just not that smart, am I?
Or
Yeah.
smart.
Now you're being targeted.
All your fault, Brendan.
Yeah.
Did you have anything else, Counselor Gunderson?
I don't, I just didn't ask.
All right, Director, Suzanne, do you have anything else that you want to?
No, I think I'll stop now. I think.
Okay, with that, this meeting is adjourned.
Very much.
Thank you so much.